The trial for Officer Edward Nero continues today. Now it's the defense's turn to make its case. Nero is one of 6 officers charged in connection with the death of Freddie Gray. WJZ is live outside Courthouse East. WJZ investigator Mike Hellgren reports on the witnesses taking the stand today, including another officer who was there the day Gray was arrested. Mike?
We heard from 3 witnesses this morning, but they had a hard time getting their points across because of numerous sustained objections. One of the most powerful was an officer named Aaron Jackson, and he said he saw Freddie Gray rocking that van back and forth, and that is important for the defense because they contend that Gray was just too resisting arrest, too dangerous to be seatbelted in. The defense of Officer Edward Nero began its first full day of arguments, trying to minimize his role in the arrest of Freddie Gray and argue he wasn't responsible for securing Gray in the police van with a seatbelt.
Officer Nero plays a secondary role that's important. According to the prosecution case, he's the one who's blocking Freddie Gray from running again at the end of the ramp. He's the one who's assisting Freddie Gray in getting on the van.
During the prosecution's case, the state played a videotaped statement of Officer Nero saying he never believed Gray was in medical distress and that Gray was resisting arrest. They called his co-defendant, Officer Garrett Miller, and in a first in a Maryland courtroom, forced Miller to testify against Nero with charges still pending against him. Miller said he alone was responsible for the arrest, but sometimes used "we" in a videotaped statement he also gave to investigators last year.
It was Officer Miller who testified unequivocally that Officer Nero never handcuffed Freddie Gray, nor did Officer Nero do anything to touch Freddie Gray during the detention stage of this case. That's very important for the defense.
Nero faces misdemeanor second-degree assault and reckless endangerment charges, along with 2 misconduct in office charges. The case is expected to wrap up tomorrow. Officer Nero has not taken the stand in his own defense. It's unclear if he will. The last witness we heard from was Sergeant Warren Stevens, who was a mentor to him and who testified about the seatbelt policy and read a general order to. Reporting live at Courthouse East, Mike Hellgren, WJZ Eyewitness.
All right, Mike, thank you. Having trouble with your connection. Here's what we need to know as the trial of Officer Edward Nero enters day 4. The defense continues its case today, a day after the judge denied its request for an acquittal. Yesterday, the prosecution rested its case. The defense witnesses include an officer who did crowd control during Freddie Gray's arrest and a sergeant who trains bike officers. Stay with WJZ for complete coverage of the Edward Nero trial. We'll bring you the latest developments as it continues.